Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Alright.
Call the Fire and Water Committee meeting to order. It is 3:15, 3:13. All right. First up on the agenda is the utility bill for Ms. Gregory.
As you know, Ms. Gregory came to our last council meeting. She came to our last council meeting concerned to a pretty tough utility bill. She had about $2,200 or thereabouts of water and sewer charges. Brenda's here. She does the utility bill, if you didn't know, Brenda Bryant. And also with her is Jessica Meadows, who is our budget billing clerk and also kind of shadows Brenda and learns those things that Brenda knows, which is extensive. And the ladies are here to answer questions, discuss with you guys. And as a matter of standard and policy now, when we have what is confirmed to be a leak, man, I've got a 100,000 gallon leak, and my plumber has come, and man, I hit a wax ring bat on my toilet, right? Or there was a leak out in the yard, or the spigot is frozen. If it's a confirmed leak, we automatically take the sewer portion off. And then we'll set up schedules, 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is, to try to help folks. Usually, we've done as long as 8 months, if I'm not mistaken, on Miss Henderson over there on the second or third street. But we'll give people payment plans on that. In this particular instance with Ms. Gregory, we don't have evidence of there being a leak. And so Brenda and Jessica can help you with any questions or any presentations you'd like them to make. But they got a big bill. And how can water go through a meter and she not know where it goes? Brenda's been around 45 years, I've been around 25 years, and a pernicious toilet leak will do it. But Ms. Gregory says, I don't have a toilet leak.
Oh, yeah, that was my question. I mean, she mentioned it when she came that she had a plumber come, and
She did say she had a plumber come, but they didn't find a leak or certify a leak or anything like that. So that's why I haven't taken the sewer off. If the plumber had come to me and said, yeah, man, we got this, that, or the other, and it didn't go into the sewer, I would have already wiped out the sewer and given her several months to pay it. I've already offered Ms. Gregory several months, but I don't think Ms. Gregory's looking for a payment plan. I think she's looking for an abatement of some sort. And
has there been any more, like from the December 17th to now? Is it high again?
No,
No.
It
she
has.
just used 100 gallons between last month's reading and this month.
so if the meter were deficient, it would still be deficient.
That's true.
The integrity of the meter don't lie, you know? And as I told the folks earlier, and I'm parroting Larry Palmore from my youth, meters don't go faster. They can get grit in them or sand in them and they'll go slower, but they never go faster.
Stop
Okay?
sometimes, but they can never go fast.
Well, Brenda's been around a while, but that's Miss Gregory's issue. We can't confirm a leak, or plumber can't confirm a leak. We've got a meter that says she used X number of thousand gallons.
So what you think happened to her?
Personally,
Yeah.
I personally think it may have been a commode leak or something.
That's my guess too.
That's the only thing that stop and start on Sundays.
But what she's saying is,
She's saying that's not the case.
she said it's not the case. She said she left her house for 2 days. She came back, wasn't nothing leaking. And, you know, I'm not a plumber. Only thing I know is when she left from up here and told me about it, we went down there. There was no water nowhere near her house. Underneath, outside, or nowhere. That's the only thing I know about it.
Well, I think she stressed to us that she would come and go every other weekend.
Yeah, but this here happened around the holiday. And I do know that when she came back, because she came up here to pay a water bill or something, and she was standing out there hooping and hollering and crying on the street, and I followed her to her house. There was no water to be seen any place, inside, outside, or anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think there's any dispute that it wasn't a traditional leak that we would see.
But
You'll see a bubble out of the
If
ground.
it's a toilet leak and it's just going right down the commode.
They had a plumber to come through there, and he said that
And I don't think that Brenda and I spoke about, you can't rule out somebody coming and using her outside.
Yeah, they
spigot
could
while
turn their
she's
outside
gone. I mean, we
spigot
don't.
well, 66,000 gallons of water is a lot of
Yeah,
water.
they could do that.
you know.
If they used it a lot of times while she wasn't there, you know, off and on, they could use a lot of water.
Well, most of the people in that area, you know, it's a close-knit area. Everybody's been in that area 35 to 40 years. Everybody knows anybody, so I would doubt that that would happen.
Well, it had to be a toilet then if she didn't have
I
a
don't,
somewhere.
I don't know. I'm not a plumber.
Yeah, but
I
that's the
do know
only
they
thing.
had the plumber to come through there
Yeah.
and look at it.
Well, she said, when she came and talked to us, that the plumber said it might have been a toilet.
Wow, she didn't tell me that. I don't know.
Yeah,
But anyway, we can sit here. We need to find a solution, you know.
then, like I said, if we could certify a leak, we'd cut half of it off right away and then divide up the other, and we've done, a dozen of those since I've been around, I guess, if not more. And, so here we are in an unfortunate situation. Somebody was a big deal, and she's asked for an appeal, it's been referred back to the committee, and here you go, right in your lap. Plop.
Nathaniel, could you and I go over to her house and actually go look at her toilet?
Yeah, we gotta find out when she's gonna be there. Or I can get in touch with David tonight and find out when we can get over there.
Who's David?
That's the guy that actually owns the house.
Okay, and how's in relationship to Miss Gregory,
That's her husband.
her husband?
Mm-hmm.
And the county is in the name of David Gregory.
Okay,
Because, I mean, if we can, you know,
Figure out
jiggle the
something.
toilet and see that it sticks or whatever, then we can at least say that, yes, there is a leak there,
Yeah.
and then we could,
I'm just giving you my experiences, and Brenda's got plenty as well, and, you know,
And then y'all said Dr. Bradshaw had a big leak too, right?
he's here to discuss that.
Yep,
Yeah.
we had a big one.
We had the same time period, we were gone, much of the month because we were away at, visiting grandchildren in Florida. But I'm pretty conscious of, the fact that the toilets may sometimes leak. And I usually will not leave the toilet and, not turn it off if I can't control the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
And we have no water standing around, but we had about the same size bill. When we opened up the paper yesterday, and saw this, we said, hey, that's almost identical
To
to
us.
us. Same time period.
Well, hers was in December, I think.
Yeah, hers was from November 14th to December 17th.
Yeah,
Ours was
Y'all's was from
December.
December 17th to January the 10th.
yeah, and I didn't get my bill until Monday, of course, when we got back.
Right, 'cause we
So
didn't mail right to the last
when I
day of the
saw
month.
it, And that's
Yeah.
when I came down and talked to Brenda, and then, you know, she told me that, you know, there was nothing, it was more than likely a potty, a commode.
is
Yeah.
this your business or is this your house? Is this your
It's
business
at the
or
office.
at the office?
At the office, but we were 52,000 gallons.
How about y'all's apartment, the one that
That's
goes
he's
upstairs?
upstairs, but he wasn't there either.
Y'all have just one water meter,
Yep.
and it covers both.
Right, right. Our son lives upstairs, yeah.
But he was away a lot too.
Yeah, but you know, the potties, we haven't had any leaks, there's nothing to show for it, and that's when I opened the paper yesterday, I saw hers, so that's when I went down and talked to Billy, and I said, you know, it's coincidence that this has happened twice,
In the same area.
and I don't
But
know
we
if there are any
get-
others.
This isn't an unusual
Yeah.
occurrence.
It's not.
It's just unusual that it's coming to a committee. I think we have these a little more regularly than maybe what's reported in the newspaper.
Well, I wasn't
Because we
gonna-
usually
I
are able
talked
to work out an arrangement with the people and have a
Yeah.
payment agreement. And Ms. Gregory's is different because she didn't want to make a payment. She wants to abate the bill, yeah.
Eliminate,
Well,
well,
I mean, we will
pay it, but I just
don't-
felt like, thought it was a coincidence that it happened.
We don't know how
This
to
many,
control it.
that many thousand gallons, and no commode is running or anything, you know, how does it, cut on and cut off by itself?
Has anybody gone back and checked at the,
Yeah.
at
We
the,
did a reread.
at
Yeah,
the,
we've
not
done
the,
that
not the
twice.
meter, but at the,
Potty.
that,
And
no,
Brenda said they
that
checked
the,
our meter
that
too, and it's-
the line
it's
isn't
normal,
leaking
you know, it went back to
at the, where it joins to go to the house. Because I was just talking to Katie Abernathy, and she was telling me she had a $600 bill, and there was no water anywhere.
Right.
Not in the yard, nothing.
We
And
don't
they
have
found
it
that the
around
leak
house.
was underneath, and it just
In the
never
ground.
came up to the surface.
Usually they'll come to the surface, the
I
ground.
know mine
gets
did, I had it
saturated.
happen in my house, and I had a big pond in my front
But
yard.
if it's a constant leak, the meter will indicate there's water going through the meter.
That's true. If they, we went back to the brass.
Yeah, and I've been there twice, sent Charlie twice, and it wasn't running either time. Meter wasn't turning, so indicated it was not a constant leak.
It was normal when we left, and it was normal when we came back, and there's no signs, of anything under the house, or
Nothing was
anywhere
wet.
around, or over the Hardee's.
It
or
wouldn't be,
anything.
because if it were, that leak wouldn't fix itself,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, so
And,
you know it's not an outside
and
leak.
we don't have in your circumstance, I don't think you have a leak. That water, in my personal opinion,
Mhm.
has been consumed either by a toilet or another appliance or something.
But last month it was 3,400 gallons is all we used last month.
Yeah,
Then
the month
this-
before that was 5,000, and the month before that was 3,500,
Yeah,
and 42, 46.
so that's what it's been
And
raining, so they had to go.
Well, that was 10,300 back in July.
Yes,
We did have a problem.
a plumber came and did change the workings in one of the commodes then. But at that time, we weren't aware that it was a problem until we called them, just to check it.
And how many gallons was 51,000?
$52,000, $1,100 bill.
52,600 gallons.
How much, Mr. Gregory?
1397.64. Water was 545.
6,100.
Sewer, yeah, 66,100.
I wish I could wave a magic wand and tell you I know what happened. But I don't. We just, in Brad Shop, we've known for many, many years, everybody knows Brad. I don't think they'd come here to mislead, but,
We
No,
have
and
to
I,
say-
and I wouldn't have done anything if the article hadn't been in the paper.
and I just
saw
can't
it.
tell you where 51,000 gallons went. If it's not in a commode, or it's not in another appliance, or a furnace perhaps, or some furnaces have used them.
What do you mean, Phil? What do you mean when you say another appliance?
Like a furnace or something like that, like if you got baseboard radiators or something like that.
An ice maker and a refrigerator, they can use it too.
We
We
don't
don't
have
have
a
an ice
refrigerator,
maker,
we
we
don't
don't
have
have-
an ice maker.
Don't have an ice maker. I know they don't have an ice maker.
Not a furnace.
So we had found it in a furnace years ago that there's, you've seen the
The
baseboard
water, we
radiator.
have that at home.
We've
Yeah,
seen
we
it
have that hot water.
happen there and water be leaking and going down like a sump line in the basement and not being able to notice.
The other thing too is how much is 52,000 gallons worth?
That's a lot of water.
How much is that?
That's half of that tank up on Church Street.
Was it worth?
Is it half? No, I mean, how much
How many?
volume, what are we talking about? How big a ocean do we have? 52,000 gallons?
I think a total will do it.
No, I think he's saying how big, is
That
that like a swimming pool?
Everybody's asking,
How
me,
big-
I'm getting ready to say fill up a
No.
swimming pool.
Maybe fill up a portion of this room or something. It's much. You think about a 55-gallon drum,
Well, the tank
times
up on Church Street is,
1,055-gallon drum.
the one big tower on Church Street is what, 100,000, I think.
My swimming pool is 36,000.
The swimming pool, yeah, big swimming pool.
36,000.
Take 1,055-gallon drum and that's
But swimming pool.
So
I
Phil,
don't know how that much water.
what kind of,
Our place.
we got people out here in limbo. So I guess, what as we as a committee, can we,
You can recommend
but what can we recommend?
waiving the sewer, you can waive or leave it as is. Let us work out payment plans, let us work out maybe putting an agreement that there can be a lien placed on the property to secure the cost. Get creative, but it's like a ditch over on Sixth Street, right behind your house.
Right.
You know, we just gotta remember what we've done here and then move on. You did not, the previous council did not waive Miss Henderson's bill, and she had a comparable one. I don't know if it was as big, but it was a honker. It was $800 or $900 if I'm not mistaken. And the council didn't waive the sewer portion, but stretched it as much as 8 months, so she had to pay a regular bill, and I think maybe $100 a month. Don't hold me exactly, but I do know it was 8 months that council agreed to extend.
Well, I can tell you that a leaky toilet will cost you about 2,000 gallons of water a day. I know that for a fact from that opinion. So
The
that's-
thing I want to know is,
Can be as high as that.
can we, as human beings, devise a way of finding water leaking before it gets to that much, that amount of water?
Because we don't know it until
Uh,
we see it.
Right.
Right.
You don't need to meter it.
Once a month. Right.
And, I mean, do we get Geiger counters with the meters and go ahead and check it ourselves day by day?
No, but I do think you have the ability, the water meter that's out in front of your yard, it's really the property of the town, but
I don't wanna go in there and mess with it.
well, you're welcome to take a look at it, and if you know everything's off and that sucker's turning, you got a problem.
Yeah.
And you can see very clearly, you may have to clear off the glass, but there's a red triangle, and on the top meter, if that's turning, water's going to the meter.
Water's moving through.
And I'll be happy to meet with you on a regular basis if you like, we'll go out there and do it if you're not comfortable with opening the meter lid, but I'd be happy.
I'm not open myself.
Yeah, I'll come over there, I'll take the screwdriver and open it. I'll watch for the wasp and the bugs and things.
That's what I'm trying to get him now.
Checking it weekly. I mean, if you just-
And we can keep an eye on it for the next month or two and have Charlie go on a regular basis.
Yeah, get serviceman to go over there and check
Just
it
check it to make sure.
weekly.
Okay, what's that gonna cost me?
We'll put it on her bill.
Yeah. We don't charge to go check it.
And so we'll give you a commitment, and once a week for the next 2 months, we'll go over there,
I think that would be
pull the
good.
meter
All right.
and take a look at it.
Somehow, well, the other thing, again, we're gonna be away next week, all week, and I think these things happen when we're not home. But
I come back and nothing is, everything is quiet and nothing is.
Like I said, I can't tell you what happened, it's just of my belief that something has consumed the water. And I'm not trying to contest your
Now, if you know it's going through there, call, that's all.
Look, okay, all right, if these people have certified plumbers, right? And these people say that there is no way that these people consume this water, what happens?
I don't think a plumber can swear that they didn't consume the water, because if it goes right down the toilet, there's no show. What the plumber typically will certify is, yeah, it was a leak, man, I saw it, and that's why we, right off the sewer, charges, because the water goes in the ground, it doesn't go on the sewer line, so we don't charge it close to the sewer. We didn't treat it, so we don't charge it. That's the certification from the plumber, not so much, I know they didn't use it, because I don't think I or anybody else or any plumber can certify that we definitively know we have a leak, yeah, and they can certify that.
So the worst case scenario
Yes, sir.
would be you might consider waiving the sewer, but pay for the water.
Yeah, yeah, you could do that, yeah. That's,
Are there any
available.
community programs that would assist with that?
I heard about one last night. Sheila called me.
Okay.
So I think I told Sheila we had a meeting today, and I'm probably gonna call her back, or you can call her back, and we can all get together and talk about it. 'Cause she called me last night and she said that some group had called her about that water bill that was in the paper. So I've got a meeting real early this evening. So, but you got her phone number, right? And maybe we can all get our heads together and see what we can come up with.
I can tell you, there've been some organizations and churches in town that have been helpful in the past with somewhat similar circumstances. I don't know if the full amount could be come up with, but paying for graves and doing some things have been, some of the churches in town have contributed to
But if we waive the sewer portion of this, it's gonna cut that in half, right? So we're talking about
So Ms.
700.
Gregory,
So catch that in half, right?
You'll take the sewer
she had
charge
made
off
a
by
payment
half.
of $197.70 this past, on the February the 1st, that was applied to that bill.
Okay,
So,
so
think you will check ours weekly?
We
for-
certainly
for-
will
Oh,
send
yes.
Charlie Atkinson, one native solar, works for the electric department,
Make sure
come on over here.
nothing's
And
spinning.
Brenda will call you if there's a problem.
That's all.
excuse me, what were you saying?
Keep an eye on it. I much rather have early detection than I would.
Oh, no, I'm talking about what was she saying? That she made a payment of $197?
Find out about it. She doesn't wait till we prepare the bill.
Oh, I
If she
know.
does it right, and says, ooh, wait a minute, and then she'll give a call and find out.
And we appreciate that.
Well, she owes 1370.
Cut that in half.
Oh, yeah.
I think Jessica had some to share about the bill.
Mr. Miller was asking me. She made a payment February the 1st of $197.70, which is the amount of her current bill. But the system applies it to the latest.
So what
bill.
would be her total bill now?
Her total bill now, with the water and sewer still applied, is $1,077.07. And that includes the water and sewer and then $17.43 additional for the electrical.
Because she does have electric bill on that.
Right, the $197.70 was applied to the electrical service, am I right?
Yeah, it's one of the older accounts.
Right, when,
And it
right.
always applies to the oldest bill.
Right.
Bill-
Okay, well, so we really can't say anything to full council meets anyway,
I
right?
think you gotta wait till the full council.
Yeah, okay.
We promise not to cut her off for doing
Right.
anything, we don't think she's leaking. But if you make an abatement, I think full council needs to do something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
And you can make a recommendation to them. Or if you want the full council to consider the matter, and then we can do that.
That's why I think it'd be best that full council
Just
consider.
report the facts and
Right.
this is what we found or didn't find, and this is what we have.
There may be
still
some
like
people
to
who
go.
would be interested in doing
Yeah, I'd
something.
still like to go in her house too.
We may be able to find some of that
We need to
bill
go in his house too.
through the churches at the time.
Well, I think he's accepted that.
They also have some.
Yeah, we offered that to folks. If you'd like to do
Oh, just break
as
it
much
down.
as 3 months, we can do that.
Be all right, but we wanna know why it happens and whether we can do things.
I don't know the answer to the question.
And we just didn't, you know, I don't know if there was other people that were in the same situation that we didn't know.
She said she didn't have any others this month that you're aware of, but you said there was somebody that reported a $600 bill?
No, I was just, that's what, I was talking to Katie, and she said that happened at her house several
Some
years
time
ago.
ago, yeah. It's not an
And it just
unusual occurrence.
Didn't show up.
I would
till-
say half a dozen times over the course of a month, maybe I'll go in there and there'll be a recorded leak or there'll be an issue. These nebulous ones where we don't have an answer, they're probably not as common. Usually there's water running on the ground and we know it.
We wouldn't even be discussing it until we saw the thing in the paper.
Paper,
and said,
yeah.
Hey, that's us. Wrong person. Why else is that the same day?
If you'd like to make a payment plan, I think
No, but
as
we
much as
didn't.
3 months we're looking at.
Just wanted to make sure it wasn't happening to a lot of people.
Is that agreeable with you guys to go to the council meeting and come up with a full recommendation in the meantime? Maybe there's some alternatives for getting some of this.
Yeah, I'll check with Sheila
Double
what her
check again.
program was and if there's anybody know, anybody do anything locally for GoFundMe kind of programs?
It's been more of word of mouth, pick up the phone and call around and see if there's something you can do. But
I don't know where they go me from.
I'll commit myself to some time, maybe calling around a few spots that have helped in the past. See if maybe we can round up a good portion of the bill. See what we can do.
There's one thing too that I could probably bring up on that is, and that is, the Ministerial Association usually does not get much funds. Of course, Lent is coming up and that's our biggest income for the whole year. And, somebody has, well, we also do the, what's the thing in the summer for the literacy?
The reading.
Reading,
We
program.
get money from the ministers.
Well, the last couple of years, somebody has donated that money, so it's not coming out of the fund. So we got about $2,000 or $3,000 now that's built up in that fund.
We can
Because of that.
find places to put that.
Well, that's, I don't have authority to do that yet, but I'm saying I'll bring it up at.
That'd be great. And like I said, we've had churches help in the past. People couldn't pay for a grade for a loved one, things like that, utility bills, some of those kind of things. Never in the amount of $1,000, but
If people
usually
know
it's
that I
small.
have $3,000 and they go.
The secret safe with
That's
maybe
right, say it
cameras on
correctly.
it. Set it on camera so the whole world.
Help might help you. Help might help her.
Help me, help you.
Right.
We'll see if we can round up enough cash to certainly.
Help.
But don't you just go in your pocket?
Huh?
If you don't, you just go in your pocket.
When? I have paid some utility bills around, I don't know if that's good practice, because I think people's memories get short. You pay 'em.
When you do it, you get, it's a gift, isn't it?
Right, it's a gift.
It's a gift when you help somebody.
Oh, yeah. All right, moving on.
Anything else?
I'm gonna steal Jennifer's package because I don't have mine.
Water study, Fort Pickett.
We're gonna exit.
You can sit around here, welcome to public meeting.
We just because we didn't know what was happening, we'll find out.
Nice seeing y'all, Dr. and Ms. Bradshaw. You look wonderful.
Thanks for coming.
Water study Fort Pickett.
Caregiver. Good
I know, I know.
All right. This is purely informational. I'm just trying to get it to you guys so you know what's going down here, okay? The town of Blackstone received the sewer system and the wastewater treatment plant, I'm talking about sewer, in 1998 from the federal government. And we renovated the plant. The federal government paid 3/4 of the renovation cost, and the town paid 1/4 of the reservation, or the restoration cost or renovation cost. We just paid off our bond back in August, so we don't owe any more money on that plant, at the wastewater plant. But the federal government reserved 3/4 of the flow, 1.5 million gallons out of 2 million gallons are reserved for mobilization day. Tom knows about all this stuff. Okay? We are bumping up in the 400,000 gallon plus. We're about 425. Plus, if we add Fast C and we add Nottaway Commons, then we're getting close to getting over. We have bid out and received a quote as a change order. I shouldn't say bid out, but the contractor that's working at the water and wastewater plant right now, remember we're building the booster station and all that, has given us a cost estimate to put in the recirculation pump to get the extra 200,000 gallons of flow at the wastewater plant. Nottaway County committed that they would assist us with the Tobacco Commission grant, which has been granted. We have been successful. And so it's a $156,000 change order. That's a big one. I do some little ones, but that's a big boy. But it falls in line and within the budget of what the town council originally asked Nottaway to apply for. And that will give us a 200,000 gallon increase in our capacity. The Department of Environmental Quality has established some new permit rates, and our operator, or lead operator, Ed, said we've never even come close to reaching those limits before. So we're gonna go ahead and proceed. And I met with Ronnie Rourke yesterday, and he said the Tobacco Commission, in his opinion, has awarded it, and you know, we're gonna have to front the money. We have to pay it up front, and then we get a reimbursement from the Tobacco Commission. All right. That's sewer capacity, and that dovetails into a request that Billy wrote. If you remember back in 2015, we met at Flaws. Remember all that? Here was the whole deal. Remember, we got 500,000 gallons. Fast C at the time was an 80,000 gallon a day producer of sewer. Okay, that was going to put us over 500,000 gallons. And I told Ronnie about it way back. I said, Ronnie, I got a little problem. Well, Ronnie admittedly, and he discussed with council, he did say, "Man, don't mess this up because Fast C is coming. We don't want to cause a problem. Let's see if we can work this out later." Well, the problem came up when the hotel came along and said, "We want 50,000 gallons of flow for the town." Ronnie, I can't provide it. What do you mean? I can't provide it. Okay. So in order for this council or the previous council to accept that project, there had to be some sewer accommodation. That's when the county stepped up and said, "We'll assist you with the cost." MacBug did the study, and that 200,000 gallons stays with the town. Okay? So we're okay. In the meantime, Billy also wrote a letter to the National Guard asking for 400,000 gallons of sewage capacity out of their 1.5. I got the numbers, and I don't think they're using more than 250,000 now. Okay? That's per day. Now, you get rainy days where it goes up a bunch, but about 250,000 gallons. And I can give you the exact figures. All right? We hadn't gotten a response for it, but I've also had, over the past year, several occasions when I've discussed with the DPW, Department of Public Works guys, Michael Alder specifically, about tap fees. And I can tell you, the guys at the post don't like paying tap fees. It's not really a very popular thing. Okay, and a tap fee for us is in town for a standard 3/4 inch meter is $1,600 for water and sewer. Out there, a 2-inch meter, ooh, she's a lick. And you're talking a $20,000 tap fee, and they don't like paying those things. So one of the things that I proposed to them was, in exchange, and I think the last council heard this, in exchange for waiving future tap fees. We don't like charging them because it's a booger. Yeah, they don't like paying them. But what can we do in exchange for waiving perpetually all tap fees for National Guard, not for other things, but for the Guard? can we get 400,000 gallons of flow to sweeten the deal for the guard? So you're getting something, and in return, you're giving us something. And 3 years later, we still haven't gotten a response. Now, are we in crisis? No, because we have this 200,000 gallons. I talked to Michael Alder the other day, and he's very frank, and he said, well, I think it's a bigger issue than just saying yes. Maybe it's a Corps of Engineer involvement, and I don't know what the bureaucracy is at Piggott. But he said, we've been meeting on it, we've been working on it, but it's a bigger issue than just us with a stroke of a pen saying yeah. You may know the protocol.
Not sure about the Corps of Engineers. There's a deed that's in place for both the power and
Absolutely.
the water, and it's run through a contract that was set up back in 1995 with the BRAC.
Correct. Yep.
And so it all rolls over. I'm not sure exactly what that says, but I know that the Guard would love to waive the tap fees, and I think we're getting closer to where.
Do you think there's some progress?
Yeah.
Good.
Actually, I met with Paul Gravely. He said that the Edison Journal wanted to come talk. And
Good.
So what I recommended was that he get with Billy, ask to meet with Billy and this committee.
Great.
And then we can discuss the things. I think what they're also worried about though is the rate that they're paying for the water. So whether or not, they realize that they're not gonna get a cheaper rate than it's been, but they don't wanna get the out-of-town rate either. So I don't know if there's.
They don't pay an out-of-town rate now.
Yeah.
So everybody knows you have in town.
Is it the same as what the restaurants are paying, or is it higher?
They're paying $3.67.
I'd have to pull it
It's under $4 per 1,000 gallons.
And how does that equate to the restaurants? Or, I mean,
We can go pull with the
not to
minimum.
say,
I'll get the
they're using a lot
utilities.
more water than the restaurants.
They use a huge amount, but their rate is lower than even in-town customers.
Okay.
In-town customers, they pay less per 1,000 gallons than
I
in-town.
don't think they're.
If we can show them that,
Yes.
and then,
But I think before they mentioned they want the same, if they're getting billed,
that's what they
that's
want.
what they want.
If they get billed for 10,000 gallons or 10 million gallons of water, they only want to pay for 10 million gallons of sewer.
Well,
Right
I
now.
wanted that, Philip.
Right now, let's say they get a bill for 10 million gallons of water, because we know how much water, we can meter that, we know to the daggone 10 gallons, we know how much water get consumed and how much water gets used at Pickett, okay? Minus usage at the wastewater plant, minus any big leaks, any of that kind of stuff.
Right. Well, you need to go follow the INO study. too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we showed them that they had a lot of infiltration coming into the sewers.
They're paying for the I&I because of the
Yeah,
rainstorms
so,
and all
but
that.
that's all lumped in one pile, so you can't say, you're not gonna, we charge you for 1 million gallons of usage, then you're gonna get 1 million gallons of sewage. That's not true, because you have infiltration. You should have to pay for that, we shouldn't. So,
That's how
because
it's
of
set
his pipes. So, I think they understand that.
But
It's
as
just
long
a
as they're
matter of-
working towards
Yeah.
a resolution, but the 200,000 gallons is enough for us to keep the wheels of progress turning in town. At some point, may have to give you.
I think this is gonna get moving like
Get
in
ahead.
the next week.
Good, I'm glad you've spoken with them, but everybody's been cordial, there's no unpleasantry. Colonel Gravely's been very nice, Michael Alder's been very courteous. We just hadn't got a resolution to it, but Michael said they were working on it. Okay. Next item, wastewater treatment capacity, or excuse me, water study Fort Pickett. You heard that Tom just mentioned a wastewater study or an I&I study at Fort Pickett. It's an old sewer system, it really is. The main lines belong to the town, the laterals going to the buildings belong to the post, okay? There's a lot of water gets into that system when it rains. You get a big rainstorm, there's a bunch of water, because you can see the flows at the post. And we know to the gallon what we pump out of our 2 pump stations. They get a bill for the difference, whatever it is. And it can be big. I mean, it can be like a 4 million gallon water bill and a 10 million gallon sewer bill. It can be appreciable. And it's been wet, so you know they've been paying some premium bills. Okay. That is there was an I&I study conducted by Fort Pickett at their expense 2 years ago, a year and a half ago.
We just finished this.
Yeah, well, you guys have worked with them, and that showed that there's some significant I&I areas, not pinpointing the line, but areas, and I think the airport is one of them, and then there may be some others that are appreciable. Hospital site, I think, is one. I think they're proposing to abandon some lines down at the hospital site, which is near the water plant. So they're working on chipping away at some of their stuff, okay? At the I-9, that will get their bill down. We, in the meantime, did a water study. The town did. Now, we didn't go out and do flow testing and all those kind of things. What we did was look at the age of the water line and what would it cost to replace said water line, and what priority would you do? Okay? You have, not the drawings, but you have the tables that show your cost, okay? And if we were to replace the entire water system, the majority of which was built in 1941, 41, you know, they're old, a lot of old stuff out there, okay? Is it working? It's working. We have more leaks probably than we'd like to, and you got an old system, and old systems like heads up on the cost of this thing. And I think it's one of the things that we're going to try to start nibbling away at. And the total cost for every phase is $16 million. Just not realistic that we can dive into that. But I do want to start the process of saying, all right, we're going to do 1/3 of phase 1 this year, and that's where depreciation charges come in. We're going to have our reserve fund coming, and we're going to really start concentrating on making sure that there's plenty of money in depreciation. So if we want to replace a section of line, we can replace a section without on there dipping under.
Is this prioritized in the order that it's presented?
I think it is. Because the initial phases are abandonments. And the abandonment of the Fast C property was huge for us because it got rid of a bunch of really old stuff. Probably 20% of the system out there was abandoned, but this takes that into account. And they gave us new water lines and new sewer lines, so that is an improvement for us.
Did we get any assurance from the State Department that they did cap those lines? So that
Andre was
not-
doing the inspections, and as far as I know, they were done. I'd have to ask Andre and if there was anything separate, and we'll get a set of as-built drawings, but that was our expectation. It wasn't just disconnected, it was
Yeah,
disconnected.
otherwise
Don't close
you
the
still have
valve.
Water
Cut.
running through it, and we're paying for that water when it goes to the water treatment plant.
And sometimes people just valve something off. We'll just close the valve and it'll be good. Well, you know, valve leaks or whatever reason. So we wanted physical disconnection of the system. Andre did the inspections, and I'm going to assume it all went. He hasn't indicated to me anything different. This is a big boy. You know, I'm not advocating going out and borrowing a bunch of money and doing stuff, but I do think in the budget cycles, we need to start slowly chipping away at this rabbit.
How many years do you think it'll take to do this projection?
20 years.
20 years?
Yeah.
Wow,
And that's
so-
spending almost $1 million a year. You know,
But these figures are all 2 and 3 years old too. So,
2015. So they've got some age on them already.
so it's gonna go
All
up.
we can do is chip away. And I think here's the difference between the sewer. We got a really sweet deal on that sewer system. They gave us $3 million. They gave us the plant. They assisted in the renovation now. And that, the end result was they reserved a lot of the flow. On the water plant, I think it was a different deal. You may have been over there on post. They basically said, we're gonna get rid of this system, everybody can bid on it, or give us a proposal for it. And so the town's proposal was accepted, but it wasn't, you get the plant. You get the plant, you get the lines
You
too.
took it as.
You don't have a choice. You take it all or nothing. So the town took the lines too. And on the sewer line size, to reiterate, remember they paid for the plant, they gave us the plant, but they also did a sewer lining project on all the mains before the town accepted it. I don't know what that could have cost, but lining a pipe, they use a flexible PVC liner, like pulling your sock inside out, and they pull it through the system, through the section of line, and they superheat it with steam, and it, boop, and now you've got a new plastic line inside of your crumbling old line. And that was done for the most part at a picket. Now, there may have been some instances where laterals, you know, when they go down the line, they see a line coming in. It may have been for a floor drain for a tank wash or something, and they may have cut it out and opened it up. And those are the kinds of things, as we find them, or as the post finds them, we try to abandon those, because it's no good. They're paying $3.67 per 1,000 gallons of rainwater. All right.
Now, do you have on this per year, Do you have an amount that you're recommending that we spend each year
Not right
in the
now.
budget?
Not right yet. I don't. Because I don't want to raise rates to do this. I want to do this within the existing depreciation schedule that we have. And I can tell you our entire system depreciates about $600,000 annually on the sewer and water side. It slowly creeps up. Electric side's about $145,000 this past year. Okay? So logically, if we were absolutely doing everything perfectly, and this is a perfect world, we would put $600,000 aside from our current rate structure, okay? We would set $600,000 a year aside and stick that in an account, and then after a couple of years, we would take on a phase. But remember, we still got to pay for town and wastewater plant and all those kinds of things. So it's just a daunting big task. But the depreciation of a water and sewer system per our auditor is about $600,000 a year.
Is this something that'll be put on the comprehensive plan?
I don't know about the comprehensive plan, but it'll certainly be in the capital improvement plan.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll start putting a phase in the comprehensive, or the capital improvement plan every year. And this is what Jennifer and I have been talking about. This year, coming up, will be really the first year that we're really gonna have true expenditures, true budgeted items. Because what we've been doing is, Lord, well, we need to set the money aside, and I don't know how to budget for that. Well, we're not gonna buy that truck this year because we're not gonna do switch gears at the electric plant because Phil wants to continue finishing up the reserve capacity. So we've been budgeting for some capital projects that ain't been happening. Now, we've been doing some, but not the full amount in the budget.
So
This
you're not
coming year-
proposing putting any of this into the 2020 budget, or
Yes.
are you?
Yeah, we'll put some in
You
there.
do.
Because this is gonna be the first year that we're gonna be able to say, we can more fully fund depreciation, okay? We can actually say, we're gonna put $300,000 aside,
Gotcha.
and we're really gonna be able to put $300,000 aside, okay? It's gonna be a much truer vision, because we include things in the budget, but we don't necessarily do them because the money's diverted to putting it in the reserves or to put a new water line behind Acapulco or whatever, okay? Reserve funds. That's like Mr. Miller smiles, so I'll hit that real quick. We have a thing called a finance plan, and I'll make a copy for everybody, okay? And that finance plan says, this was adopted, I think, in 2014 initially, and then we've been bringing it back every year. The town of Blackstone, based on the size of budget we have, water, sewer, and electric, water and sewer are one fund, electric is a fund, and general fund is a third fund. There's really three big funds in the town, okay? Electric holds its own. Water and sewer breaks even and does some. I think we hit a $500,000 position change from one year to the next. But our general fund stinks. It's not doing all that great, okay? So we've got to find some things that are gonna supplement or offset the general fund. General fund is expensive and it doesn't bring in very much money, okay? $4 million in electric sales, approximately, okay? You think about all the taxes that we collect, altogether, meals tax is the largest. Property taxes only bring in $325,000 a year-ish. Less than $100 on personal property. All the taxes combined don't even pay the full budget for the police department, okay? So your utilities really do, because we have a budget for the police department, and they don't bring much money in. They get some grant money and burn grant, but for the most part, that's funded straight up with the town's money, okay? And they're not selling their server, they're not selling water, they're not an enterprise. So those activities, buying fire trucks, those are expensive. All right? So we've got to find some ways to improve our general fund during the budget process. And the way to improve general fund is by using some of the, legally, using some of the enterprise funds to supplement the general fund. Okay? Because you can't just raise people's electric rates so that you can give 2 more police officers. That's not what you're supposed to do. Water and sewer rates aren't supposed to be charged for out-of-town customers and that money used for anything other than water and sewer. They gotta fall within some parameters, okay? And we've been doing that probably over the past 5 years. We've started adhering to, because it used to all go in one pot and man, what's left? Now, we're a little more cautious about making sure water revenues and those out-of-town expenses or charges, all that is going back into water system. You're talking about it all day, but there's a finance plan. We're supposed to have $3.7 million in reserve based on our auditor, our financial advisor, Roland Cooch with Davenport, and the American Public Power Association. Our auditor on the general fund, 15% is his recommendation. If you've got $1 million, you need 150. You got 10 million equivalent, you need 15% of your total budget, okay? Or 1.5 million out of 10 million. If you look at electric, they recommend 4 months of expenses. You take the total expense of the budget, divide by 12, and multiply by 4, and that's how much you should have there. And that's about $1.5 million. On water and sewer, which is why we're here, we had used that same 4-month amount. Roland Cooch, our financial advisor, who's with Davenport, who's not on call for us, and we don't pay him every month. He only bills us if he does something for us. He recommends something a little different because he says water and sewer, and he's right. Water and sewer is so much more debt heavy, okay? Much more debt heavy, and the cost of replacement and repair and the depreciation is much higher. He thought 4 months was too late. He recommended 6 months. So we're supposed to have $1,200,000 ultimately in the water and sewer reserve. Okay, 3.7 million bucks. We're at 3.101 today. $3,101,000. We will continue putting our little shekels in there every month or every 2 weeks. We'll make a contribution either tomorrow or on Monday, depending on what the cash flow type is. We make payroll, and then before we start paying our bills, we take a look to see what we can contribute. Typically, every 2 weeks, we're contributing $28,000 into that reserve fund. Taking into account the interest income, because there's actually interest income now. It used to be you didn't get much on your money; it just kind of sat there and languished. Now, we believe with these CDs and this other investment, we'll be able to use that interest income, reinvest it as part of that 3.7 million bucks. Okay, and it's our expectation on the 1st of October, that's all done. Okay, all done. Maybe quicker, but our expectation is 1st of October, 19. We're not full. That's why we say this next budget is going to be a little truer. We say we're going to buy a dump truck, we're going to buy a dump truck. We say we're going to fix $200,000 in water line, we're going to fix $200,000 in water line. $3.7 million. But then we got to start working on depreciation. Because man, everything we got is old and rickety and all that sort of thing. We're taking big chunks with East End. We're replacing a bunch of old stuff over there. Total amount of debt. Okay. As of May 1st, we're going to pay off the medical center. That's the last payment. The month of May. All right. The medical center will be ours. We will owe no money on it, but the rent payment will go down a bunch. Okay. It'll go down from $22,000 to about $2,000 a month. Okay. Now a big windfall of cash, we'll set it aside for a depreciation fund if we have a place to live or something. Okay. After that is all paid off, we still owe more than $12 million, interest and principal, and all of that is water and sewer. You have no electric debt, and you'll have no general fund debt once the medical center is paid off this spring. Okay. Everything else is water and sewer, water and sewer, water and sewer, water and sewer. The biggest portion of it is a renovation that the town did of the water plant back in 2009, 10, I don't remember that. The original amount was $7.5 million bucks, and we owe, I think, principal now about $4.5 million plus interest. So it's still a pretty good shot.
Are there any grants that we can get toward
Well,
that?
we're looking at doing a refi. Okay, we're looking at a refinance. We've refinanced that bond one time already, and went to a fixed 3%. But there's some offerings that are coming out through the Virginia Resources Authority, where there can be some water bonds issued to refinance for that purpose, and we may be able to go down to about as low as 2 million or 2%. At 1% over, but we've got a reset. You got to go back another 20 years, and we only owe 17. Do we want to add 3 years of debt to get our payment down, or do we not? That's to be
For the
determined.
council to figure out.
We gotta talk to Roland, and he hasn't given us a recommendation, he's given us the numbers, and I've got that for anybody who wants to look at it. And then the water portion of East End, we could include in that because it's water. Okay. It's gonna be a different world this coming year, and it's gonna be exciting.
It's gonna be better, huh?
Yeah, it's a lot better. I mean, this has been since what, 2011? When I started working here, it was a myth. Now, it hasn't been easy. I know folks are gonna say, we have a lot of money in the bank. And we can put money in the bank. All we just need to do is say, all right, this is our goal. Mr. Van Order, can we accomplish Armory, or can we accomplish Community Center? Can we do, yeah, we do all those kinds of things. But we're gonna have to earmark the monies, and we just can't go back and say, well, we got 3.7, we're gonna put that. Please don't do that, and, please, I don't,
That just gets us back in the.
whatever decision is made with any of the kind of activities, just remember, hey, there's a price tag associated with it, and we'll come up with a finance plan, and we'll swimming pools, or armories, or downtowns, or whatever we wanna do. We just gotta kind of take our time, come up with a plan that everybody agrees on, and then we get something good. Alright? Water and sewer is all the debt we have after the first of May.
Nottaway Bridge.
Highway Bridge, this is informational, there was a meeting, at the primary school. I think you went, and Christine was there, and this has been several months ago, but this is probably the first meeting we've had since then. And there were 3 options initially discussed about replacing the bridge on the Nottaway River below the reservoir. Why does it matter to us? Because the bridge is built on the dam, which is holding the water back in the reservoir that we drink, okay? So they consulted with us and said, what would you prefer? And our preference was a new bridge downstream. You're not tearing up the structure, you're not jackhammering the existing structure, you're not tampering with it in any way, you're going downstream. If we had a choice, if we were deciding factor, that's what we told them we would prefer. The other option was to build a new bridge across the lake. Well, we don't like that because if a tank truck full of diesel falls in the lake, it's upstream from our intake and we got a problem. We want everything to be downstream. Well, they picked out probably the best solution financially is replace the structure on top of the dam. That's what they selected because of cost measure. If you went downstream, it's almost a gorge down through there. If you ever look off the bridge going downstream, and they factored the cost, we were pretty adamant we didn't want them to build a new bridge across the lake. But their decision was, what VDOT presented, is that they're gonna replace it on top of the dam. Not the worst thing, but we wanna make sure that they properly store things. I think Larry Palmer really struggled a few years ago when somebody at the falls on the Nottaway River, somebody opened up the drain on a tar tank. Road paving crew or something was up there, and the town of Victoria or vice versa, and the town ultimately was gonna have some problem. We ought to make sure those kind of things don't.
So is the intent that they're just gonna close one lane and?
They're gonna close it all together and make a reroute on Jonesboro Bridge.
3 years, isn't it?
It's 2 or 3 years. Yeah.
They're gonna, holy hell, they're gonna go all the way around
Go
to
through Cedar
Jonesboro Bridge.
Cedar
Cedar Creek Road and whatever Christiana Road or whatever it is.
Turn at the bridge and go.
That's a dirt road.
No,
I don't know if that one is.
no, not if you go across that bridge and coming around.
They're gonna close the bridge altogether for, and literally a couple, 3 years, yeah.
Yeah, 3
And
years.
that's pretty narrow in spots, so they'll have some work to do to get that up to par.
I call it Lover's Lane.
Yeah.
I think Pickett wanted them to go downstream.
Huh?
Because Pickett wanted them off the dam because they want to fix the dam.
Logically, everybody wanted a separate bridge from the dam, but I think the cost was prohibitive. There may be some, cost alternatives in there, and I think they selected based on dollar.
Do they ever dredge the reservoir? Doesn't it fill up with silt and stuff?
It does fill up with silt periodically, and ultimately, I think you can dredge if it becomes an issue. It's very expensive. Environmentally, it's really kind of sketchy.
Okay.
And where it fills in a lot is in the back of the reservoir, not so much up at the dam.
Up by Jonesboro.
The upper
Bridge Road.
reaches
Yeah.
on the north side of Jonesboro, and those wetlands and all kinds of stuff. So I can tell you my experience with Lake Chesden and the Appomattox River Water Authority. They wanted to expand their capacities in Lake Chesden, the city of Petersburg and Colonial Heights, Chesterfield. Everybody bought water from them out of the Appomattox River, which is Lake Chesden, and they looked at options. And dredging was an option. Raising the height of the dam was another option. And the third option was just building a new reservoir altogether. And guess what they did? Build a new reservoir. They came to Amelia County and wanted to build a reservoir in Amelia County. So that tells you the dredging option, I think it's really pricey and it has an environmental tag, or at least in that project did. When you start scooping up cattails on the side of the bay, all kinds of problems.
How soon are they looking at starting this thing?
I think it's May.
I mean, this year.
They may start like design work this year. I don't think they're actually gonna start construction right away.
I know they supposed to have, the excavators and all that out there in May, they said.
I think it's in here somewhere. This is something they handed out.
I mean, $2 million difference between the existing and going downstream, that, I can't.
Now, the new bridge downstream was 10 million, and then the superstructure replacement, I believe is the one that they picked at alternate number one.
So they're not gonna do a new bridge on the existing line of 8 and 8?
God, I can't remember. No, they are. They're taking the bridge off and putting a new one back right exactly where it is.
$2 million difference, I think it's odd that they would get that bent on $2 million.
Let's see if they have a schedule on here. I apologize, I don't know the answer.
I was just curious. Anybody got anything
I'll get
else?
you a schedule.
I don't know. You wanna join the meeting?
All right,
I apologize. I
adjourn
just
the meeting.
don't know the answer.
4:10.
Hopefully that was helpful and informative, and